Let me paint the picture. It's April Fool's Day 2024. People have been playing pranks on you all day, and you're done falling for them. You hear about this massive tornado outbreak on the horizon from a smaller YouTube channel called Davis Does Weather. You don't believe it. You're like, it's another April Fool's joke. This is not going to happen. This is ridiculous. I'm starting to get tired of these. But then, your small town in Ohio gets struck by an EF2 tornado. Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened on the days of April 1st, April 2nd, and April 3rd of 2024. Today, we're going to be breaking it all down. First up, we're going to be talking about the Conyers, Georgia tornado. This low-end EF2 tornado struck southeast of Atlanta, Georgia, and caused considerable damage and 2 injuries near Conyers. All right, now Conyers is a very small town in southeastern Georgia. A lot of people weren't prepared for this because, again, they thought this was an April Fool's prank, all right, but unfortunately, it was not. Widespread home, tree, and power line damage has already been reported across the town of Conyers. And again, we do have those 2 significant injuries, all right? So overall, a very bad way to begin this, documentary here, but it's also the best way, all right? It's kind of sad to hear about those injuries and all this widespread damage, but this tornado, I feel like, is a good capsulation of this event, right? You're in your small town, there's this rumor going around about this tornado outbreak, you don't believe it at all, but then it actually happens, and a large tornado strikes your town. Terrifying. Next up, we're going to be talking about one of the most significant stories from this outbreak, that being the Prospect, Kentucky tornado that was just outside of the city of Louisville, right? So this was on April 2nd, the big day of all the Ohio Valley tornadoes, and a EF1 tornado crossed over a major interstate at rush hour, unfortunately, which, as you can imagine, turned out to be a complete disaster. It was reported to overturn several vehicles, including semi-trucks. Unfortunately, because of the timing of this was a pretty devastating tornado. This one also caused quite a bit of damage across the city of Prospect, Kentucky. But overall, the worst thing about it is obviously those cars and those semis getting flipped over on the interstate at rush hour. It would have had to have been terrifying to be there in that moment, I'm sure. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Jeffersonville, Indiana tornado that did cause 6 injuries. All right, this is one of our more life-threatening tornadoes of the event. This is only an EF1 tornado, but it caused significant damage to that small town in Indiana because, once again, a lot of people were not expecting this. A lot of people were not prepared because of the day of this outbreak, you could say. This was obviously disastrous. I've been saying that about every tornado this video, but whenever you think about it, 6 injuries, considering it hit a very small town, is pretty significant. Again, it only caused EF1 level damage, but that can still be enough to obviously uproot trees, pull power lines out of the grounds, do significant damage to homes and buildings. So, once again, very bad tornado. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and talk about the Boyd County, Kentucky tornado. I'm not going to spend quite as long on this one. Alright, this one was near Canonsburg, and that is very important to note because there were multiple tornadoes in Boyd County, Kentucky. This was the one 8 miles outside of Canonsburg. This was possibly our strongest tornado of the event, actually. It was a EF2, a high-end EF2 with winds of 120 miles per hour or higher that did cause significant home and tree damage, but the reason I'm not spending too long about this tornado is because it was in a very rural area, which is obviously good. We don't want our massive tornadoes like this to hit in a big city. Now, we are going to be talking about one more tornado of this event. Now, you've got to understand there were like 25 different tornadoes with this event, so it would take me forever to spend a minute talking about every single one of them and finding the images for every single one of them, making sure they're not subject to copyright. So this is the last one I'm going to be talking about, but this one was probably the strongest out of the event, right? This happened near Fayetteville, West Virginia. This was a high-end EF2 tornado that caused a lot of home damage and was reported to uproot hundreds of hardwood trees. Very impressive, significant damage there, especially from West Virginia. West Virginia has not seen anything like this in a long time, so the fact that this did happen is obviously devastating, especially because, again, of that April Fool's thing. It was just terrible. All right, there's no other way to put it than terrible. Now, in conclusion, how bad really was this event? Well, we have already gotten 1 reported death and 15 reported injuries. There was also an indirect death due to this tornado outbreak, so depending on how you look at it, you could say 2 deaths. There were at least 7 EF2 tornadoes. That's very significant. We did not have any EF3s, luckily. This left over 123,000 people in West Virginia alone without power. If you include all of the tornadic activity from this event, that number goes much higher. I do want to go ahead and quickly cite my sources for this outbreak. I looked at the Wikipedia Tornadoes of 2024 page quite a bit. Also, the NOAA Storm Prediction Center website helped out quite a bit. So, anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do be sure to like and subscribe. I do tornado kind of documentaries after all the big outbreaks on this channel. So, again, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned in the channel for the next big outbreak in case you are a part of it. See ya.